it can get a little competitive. So even before primary 1, you have a lot of crazy parents asking for primary 1 preparations, which is also common. All right, so you may have students in KG preparing for primary 1. That's how it goes. But technically, that's where we start, primary 1 education. And that goes up to the age of 12. That means primary 1 to primary 6. Now, everyone is used to, after 6, it's supposed to be 7, 8, 9, 10. That's our maths. But in Singapore, it changes to secondary 1 to secondary 4. And a lot of people get confused with that because it's not grade 7 to grade 10 here. It's sec 1 to sec 4. All right, and subsequently, we have the junior college program, the IP, IB. I mean, there are a lot of different pathways, but I'll just focus on primary and secondary levels for now. Okay. Well, in Singapore right now, based on the current system, for primary 1 and primary 2, it's a relaxed period right now because they don't have exams. They've changed the system from 2022 or 2020, somewhere around there, whereby they've removed exams. So grade 1, grade 2, children are very relaxed. They sit for their first real exam in grade 3. And that's the phase where a lot of parents start to panic because the children are actually sitting for first real exam in grade 3. And that's where a lot of parents are looking for tutoring, looking for extra resources, last minute preparations and everything else. All right, so that's grade 3 and primary 3. The current primary 3 students, this batch is actually a fresh syllabus. So if you're actually teaching a primary 3 student right now versus a primary 4 or primary 5 student in Singapore, the syllabus is different. So it's always good to just check what they have already learned. Because, for example, in science, just a quick example, life cycle is taught in primary 4 based on the current primary 4 students. But right now in the new syllabus, it's taught in primary 3. So the current syllabus, there's some slight changes, which you always have to take note of if you're teaching Singaporean students in that sense, because everyone is very exam sensitive. So what's covered is what they want to learn. That's how it works. I think that works everywhere. So yeah. The first milestone they face in primary school in Singapore, it's in primary 4. That's when the final exam, which is in October, end October, most of the students just finished it. That's where they have their subject-based banding. This decides whether they go on a foundation level or whether they go on a normal path. Now, it's sort of a branding because if you're starting on a foundation level, your advanced pathway is a little limited. You'll be learning everything on a simple level. So it's harder to, scale up. And most parents would not want their kids to go on that, but I can, for example, say a primary 6 student on foundation is probably learning primary 4 maths, normal primary 4 maths. So there's a vast difference in the syllabus again. All right, that's for primary 4. And the first major milestone in Singapore is their PSLE exam. That's for students who sit for it in primary 6. And that decides whether they spend, till last year, whether they spend 5 years in secondary or 4 years in secondary. Now, everyone goes for 4 years in secondary school. I'll just go through that in a moment. Any questions so far? No. Okay.
Just one question. Okay.
Sure, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, like in CBSE or in other curriculum, we have arts, commerce, right? So, as you mentioned, in 11th and 12th, they have like diploma or something. Like they don't have any particular like branch or something.
They do. They have a lot of branches. I'll come to that in a minute. We'll just finish till grade 6. I'll come to grade 7 onwards, which is secondary 1 onwards in a moment. All right. So that's still primary 6. That's their first milestone. I mean, their first major milestone, and that decides where they go on to. Now, most students beyond that, first of all, let me just specify in primary school, the only main topics that the main subjects they're tested on is just your English, math, science, mother tongue. They have other subjects, but that's not exam-based. All right, so that's the only thing to prepare for. Now, when they move on to secondary 1, which is typically grade 7 in the Indian curriculum, grade 7, grade 8 actually, because there is a difference in the levels, some of them say. So, let me just move here. Okay, so secondary 1 to secondary 5. During this period, you are given a whole range of subjects in secondary 1 and secondary 2. Like what you're saying, you're given your English, math, sciences, you're given your literature, history, geography, design and technology, depending on what your school is offering. It's a whole bunch of topics in secondary 1 and secondary 2. So that's grade 7 and grade 8. All right. And in grade 9, which is secondary 3 in Singapore, that's when you decide what topics you take. So like what you're saying in grade 10, grade 11, grade 11, grade 12, you decide whether you want to go commerce and science and everything. Here in secondary 3, you're given a choice to choose whether you want to focus on certain science subjects, you want to focus on certain math subjects, and so forth. So I'm just going to come to that in a moment. Let me just jump a few slides and go to that first. All right. Okay. So in grade 9, which is secondary 3, you're given the option to take 2 types of mathematics, firstly. One is your basic mathematics, and the other one is advanced mathematics. We call it AMATS. All right. AMATS is a little more complicated, and it lays the foundation for, if you're doing IBDP, it lays a very good foundation for that. Likewise, if you're doing A-levels, whether you're doing H3, H2, you will need your AMATS as a foundation. Otherwise, you'll be struggling a lot. So most students who want to take maths in grade 11 and grade 12, they go for AMATS. And a lot of students don't take up grade 11, grade 12. They have a diploma option as well. So if they're choosing anything that's related to engineering, anything that's related to computing, sciences, they need AMATS foundation. So that's one subject that they always take. In terms of sciences in secondary school, just jump to that as well. All right. Sciences in secondary school, in upper secondary, you're actually given 6 options. So you have pure physics, pure chemistry, pure biology, physics chem, physics bio, and chem biology. Now, each of these, the level of difficulty is totally different. So it again depends on what pathway you want to take. A lot of children decided already in Sec 3 that, I want to do something that's science related or something that's physics related. I'm going to take pure physics. But some schools do not offer it as well, but that's in your mind already, and that's their foundation to what they want to do in A-levels, what they want to do in the diploma levels. Some don't. Some just take anything they want, and then they struggle later on. So it's a matter of choice. Likewise, at this stage, that means at upper secondary stage, grade 9, you also have your humanities option. Humanities is compulsory, but you get to choose between literature, history, and what's the other one? Geography. And we have a compulsory social studies as well. So whatever you choose in your literature, you still have to take a social studies subject. So that's for the O-levels. And the O-levels in Singapore is a little different from the IGCSE O-levels because it's tailored for the Singaporean students in that sense. So the syllabus, the way the questions are asked are a little different. Okay. All right. Going back to any questions so far? No? Okay. All right. Going back to the Singapore curriculum, what's so different about the way, what we learn here versus what is taught overseas? One difference, I've personally lived in Dubai. I've been quite familiar with the British syllabus. I'm quite familiar with the, CBSE, and I've been in Singapore all my life. So I grew up here. So basically I was I was a student here. So since then till now, the major difference when it comes to mathematics, I would say, is the use of heuristics for problem solving. So you don't see this so much in other curriculums, but this is stressed upon. I would say it's stressed upon like crazy in Singapore, whereby you're expected to draw models. So from grade 1 to grade 6, your expectation, you're just drilled for this. Whatever problems you have, you need to be able to problem solve it, mainly using models. You don't use algebra to solve the problems from grade 1 to grade 6. And the problems are not easy sometimes. If you go into a Google search, you'll see a lot of angry parents complaining, I can't solve my child's grade 6 maths problem. So it's a very common thing. And that's what teachers are there for, because our job is to make sure the kids know how to do it with the correct sort of model drawing. And yeah, that's a big challenge. And that's the expectation that students come with. I don't know how to solve this. How am I going to do this? So that's a big difference with Singapore maths, I'll say. The key milestones you're tested in Singapore for maths, obviously it's your reasoning, communications, and connections, which is the practical side of maths. So you have a lot of word problems. It's not just a basic calculation, but it's a lot of word problems as well. Like what I said, use of heuristics, the drawing of a model. Without a model, everything gets difficult. So you need to know how to draw a model. Guess and check, working backwards, these are some skills that you are taught. And they're drilled in school from grade 3, grade 2 onwards till grade 6 to do this. So we can't expect to shift that. So we have to go with that flow in that sense. So as a tutor, I mean, you must be able to draw the specific model and you should be able to demonstrate and answer that question. That's the expectation for math students, I would say. The uglier your model, the harder it is to understand. And if it's hard to understand, your student can't solve it. So yeah, that's in fact, yeah, that's the main thing.
And what is MP3?
MP3, just a moment.
Yeah.
MP3, thinking skills and heuristics. So classifying, comparing it.
What does it mean, MP3?
Okay. Now, this is the mathematical process that we are testing. All right. MP1, that's your reasoning, communications, and connections. How you make connections to things. Obviously, your plus, minus, times, divide, observing patterns, similarities, differences, finding your logics. That's your connections. The next thing that they're testing, it's the application. So whether you're using the correct method to solve a problem, whether you're supposed, if it's a ratio question, you need to use ratio. Or you can even use a fractions method to solve a ratio question, but using the right concepts, basically. And MP3, it's the one that students struggle with if their model drawing is not good in a way. So that makes a lot of difference for that. That's for maths. For any questions so far? No? Okay. I hope I haven't bored anyone yet. Okay, all right. For science, same thing with maths. There's a lot of application-based questions. So besides the theory behind it, very often you're also tested. I mean, it's a typical word problem. You always have your experiment drawn out, and you're supposed to make your conclusions. That's for science, be it in grade 3 all the way till grade 6, and again in secondary school as well. All right. Yeah, so that's for science. And okay.
Sheetal, we got one question.
Yes, gotcha.
So we got one question in the chat box. Prince Kumar, he said, are there any engineering subjects as well?
Okay, engineering specifically, if they actually go on after the 10th, that means after they finish their O-levels, the secondary 4, or in the current syllabus, there are also students who are doing secondary 5 as well. And there's a big difference as well. I'll come to that in a minute. So after they finish their O-levels, they have an option to go on to do a diploma. So they have 3 options. They either go on to do a diploma, they go on to do the A-levels. Some of them are already in an integrated program. That means they don't need to sit for O-levels. They're going on straight to an IBDP or a A-levels pathway. But those who choose to go for a diploma, there are a lot of engineering topics that they actually take up. So there's different courses per se. Polytechnic Life is 3 years to get a diploma. And in that 3 years, they learn a lot of things, depending, some choose chemical engineering, there are people who choose software engineering, there are people who choose mechanical engineering. So different polytechnics have their own schools of engineering, and that's really very specialized and very practical, I would say. So yeah, they do have engineering topics. That's after the 10th. Any other question? No?
No.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, yes. Someone was saying something.
No, I said no.
Oh, okay, no questions. Okay, thanks for that. Kamakshi, any question?
No, Sheetal, but I think you can post some questions from the audience.
Okay, I pose some questions. All right. So, okay, let's see. What can I ask? No questions, nobody. All right, how many of you are familiar with problem solving using model drawing?
So
Foreign
we have a
languages.
question in the chat. Yes,
Foreign languages. I saw it. They do take foreign languages in O levels. So there are students, there is a compulsory language, which is your mother tongue. Now there are students who, the typical majority of students to be taking Mandarin, Malay, Tamil, and then they have the non-Tamil Indian languages like Hindi, Gujarati, and so forth. So there are a lot of students taking these subjects. This mother tongue is compulsory. You need to take any one of these. And then they have a minority group of languages, which includes French. There is Japanese, there is Korean, but this is a very small fraction of students. It's not a big group. It's a very small fraction of students who do take it, yes. But majority of them get stuck on to English, to Mandarin, Malay, Tamil, some of the Indian languages. We also have Thai, we have Vietnamese, and a few other languages as well. But again, this is a very small fraction. So yeah. Any other questions?
So in all the levels, they have at least one language compulsory, right?
Yes, English is the main language, and you need to take a mother tongue, unless if you are specially exempted from it. So if I'm, for example, I'm Nigerian and I don't speak any of the available mother tongues, then I'm exempted. I can write a letter for exemption, but otherwise it's compulsory to take a mother tongue. So yeah. Well,
is there a limit of subject which we can take in Singapore curriculum?
For primary school, it's fixed. So there is no increase. For for secondary 1 and secondary 2, like what I said, you have all your subjects, you have your art, you have your sciences, you have your history, geography, literature, mathematics, English, mother tongue. Basically, you have a total of 9, 10 subjects in Sec 1 and Sec 2. When you move on to secondary 3, which is grade 9, you have the option to choose which subjects you want. And if you're a brighter student, you may want to take 8 subjects at O levels. One of them is also accountancy as well. So if you're a bright student, you may want to take 8 subjects. But most schools recommend students to take 6 or 7 subjects. Now, the minimum, if you want to go to a college, you need 6 subjects to enter a junior college. So you need to have 6 classes, including your mother tongue. So that's the reason why most schools will recommend the students to take at least 7 subjects. If they're brilliant students, they do take 8. I have students who have also taken 9 and 10 subjects at O levels as well. So it's a matter of choice, but the norm is at least 6 or 7, around that range. Yeah, that's what they'll do. And by the way, art is also a subject you can take at O levels as well. Art, design, and technology, and so forth. So every student varies. I mean, the options are plenty. Will there gonna be engineering subjects as well? Okay, I can't answer this from Akshi. That's for you, engineering maths.
So Prince, we'll need to discuss on this and we'll let you know about it.
Has anyone tried the word problem solving using model drawing and all that? Do you all use that? No?
No.
Okay, that's a skill that needs to be learned in maths. That's what I'll say. You've done that for a while. That's good, Prince. Yeah, because that's very common. In fact, there is a very even in the US, actually, a lot of US schools have adopted the Singapore maths curriculum. I do teach a lot of students from the US, and they have adopted the Singapore maths curriculum in their school syllabus. So the main thing they're taught, the main thing that they're expected to learn is, again, the model drawing. So that's part of it. They don't use their US textbooks. They actually use textbooks from here. So yeah, so that's the requirement for primary 1 to primary 6. And the moment you finish your PSLE, you can forget about model drawing. You can throw it in the dustbin because you're not going to use it again. But till grade 6, that's the way you solve everything. That's what it's expected, basically. Yeah. All right. What else? Any other questions?
No questions.
No questions? Anybody else?
Like how is O levels in Singapore of mathematics different from IGCSE O levels? How many papers do they have, and do they also have like subject codes like we have in IGCSE?
All right, for mathematics, like what I said, there's two mathematics subjects that's offered. The basic elementary maths is compulsory for all students, so you can't run away from that. All right, for elementary maths, there's also two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Additional maths is the second option of maths for those who are much better in maths. And for additional maths, again, there's also paper 1 and paper 2. The syllabus, I would say not much of a difference. A lot of topics are pretty similar, but there is slight differences in the subject, not subjects, but in the topics actually, just some additional, I would say additional types of questions. Because some of the questions are more localized and local based in that sense, but otherwise it's still the same concepts, I would say. But still, paper 1 and paper 2, same thing. Did I answer that, Fatima? Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, excuse me.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Also, like where can we find the resources like for Singapore curriculum if we want to follow any textbooks, or like say for IGCSE O level if we want to have a look at past year question papers? So are there any resources available online like we have for Cambridge IGCSE and Edexcel IGCSE?
Well, if you do a Google search, you'll find a lot of past year exam papers actually. So they call it the prelim papers. You'll find a lot of prelim papers online. Actual, you know, what do you call that? Scanned papers, past year papers, you don't see it, but it's available in the bookshops actually. I haven't seen an ebook of the 10-year series, but there is I always call this the Holy Bible for math students and science students. That's your 10-year series. It's available in all the bookstores here, and that's what we recommend our students to start doing from secondary 3 onwards, because all the topics are covered, all your past year exams papers, past year exam questions for the past 10 years, they're all there. So that's what we normally recommend all students to do, but I haven't seen an ebook for it. Yeah, I haven't seen an ebook version of it. The physical book is available, or the easiest, obviously, it's prelim exam papers from other schools, which is just as challenging or even more challenging than the O-level papers, I would say.
Yeah, I tried looking for 10-year series online, but I did not find any book for that.
Yeah.
I think only physical book is available for that one. And
Yeah.
that too only, I think, in Singapore. So,
Yeah, it's available in all the bookstores here in Singapore. But even if you don't find the 10-year series, I think one very good place to depend on is the O-level prelim papers. So a lot of the good, normally what you'll find online is the better schools exam papers. So some of their questions are even more challenging than the past year papers, I would say. So that's a very good resource that you can use, and they're available online. I think most of the websites have it. You may just want to search for prelim papers for whichever subject, like maths prelim papers, maths secondary 4 prelim papers. Remember to write secondary 4 so you can find that. If you write grade 10, you won't be able to find the Singapore papers. That's the only thing.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's more of that, yeah. Any other questions? Everyone's quiet.
No, I think like we can move on.
Oh,
We have
integrated. There is something. IP curriculum. What are the differences? Okay. Very good question. Yes. It's very important, or it's very good to actually ask a student what exactly he's studying, because in secondary education now there's a few pathways. The current secondary 2 students, they could be in an express stream, they could be in a normal academic stream or normal technical stream. Now, the normal academic and normal technical streams, they're learning a lower level of the same subject. So their mathematics, their sciences, it's much simpler. So the syllabus, it's much more cut down, it's more concise, less topics. Their papers are easier as well. So it's good to find out from secondary 2 to secondary 4 or 5 what stream the student is in. Is he in express, normal, or normal technical, or normal academic? Now, there are some students in the better schools who are offered this integrated program. Now, what the integrated program means is that in secondary 4, which is your grade 10 technically, they don't need to sit for any exam. They move on straight to grade, so from grade 7, which is secondary 1, all the way till year 2 of junior college in that sense. They don't need to sit for any exams. They'll just be sitting straight out for an A-level. Now, A-level exams are going to be scrapped, so I don't know what they'll be sitting for next in future, but as of now, they'll still be sitting for A-levels, and or else they may be sitting for the IBTP program. So they don't have any exams. I mean, they have school exams, but they don't have any board exams. They don't have any O-levels, nothing till 6 years later. So it's a 6 years program. That's the integrated program. All right, so it's grade 7 to grade 12, fully covered, no exams in grade 10, in simple words. Okay, that's the integrated program, yeah. But you'll have a very small percentage of students in that because it's among the top, the cream of the crop, you can say, the best students. So not that many kids. Yeah, majority of them still sit for O-levels. Majority of them still go on and decide their future in O-levels. Any other questions?
I guess we can move to the next topic, Shiva.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You can have water, Shiva.
Sorry?
You can have a water.
No, it's fine, fine. Don't worry. Just having a bad throat.
Yeah.
Yes. Any questions?
No, your screen is not shared, Sheetal.
Ah, okay, yeah. I thought it was, sorry, bad. Okay, so that's what I have for the Singapore curriculum. I'm supposed to keep it short, so I kept it for half an hour. But actual syllabuses, like what I said, we can find it on the MOE website, whatever it's being covered, the Singapore MOE website. There are plenty of exam papers available from grade 1, primary 1 to primary 6. Don't write in grade 1, search for primary 1. The moment you search for primary 1 to primary 6, sec 1 to sec 4, you should be able to find a lot of simple basic exam papers. The latest you'll find is till 2022. So till last year, you have a lot of exam paper resources. And I'll say that's the best resource for most students because it covers all the challenging problems that they need to know in that sense. Yeah, so that's for the Singapore curriculum. Sec 1, sec 4. Okay, well, for those teaching secondary 1 students next year, that's one more thing that I guess I better mention. There is a big shift in the grading systems of our primary 6 examinations. So from next year onwards, we don't have 5 years in secondary education. Currently, the students who are weaker, they have up to 5 years to finish their secondary education. But from next year onwards, they only have 4 years. But they have an option to select subjects based on the level of difficulty. And it's no longer like if you are in a normal stream, you'll only be getting all your subjects in the easy way. But instead, you will be given an option to choose different subjects at different levels based on your marks available, obtained in primary 6. That's the only difference that we're having in the secondary school syllabus. So next year on, there will be a lot of changes, a lot of grade levels and all that. That will be the first year, the starting point. And that's when we will know what the new syllabus is for secondary 1. Yeah. So that's, but not much of a difference, I'll say. The topics are the same, it's just the levels, who covers what. That's the only thing. All right, I think that's all I have. I don't think I should be going into detail of what each topic covers, but yeah, any questions? Anything that I missed out maybe?
No, I think we'll be sharing the resources as well. So it will be, or everything will be there.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Thank you so much, Sheetal. Thank you, team, for joining in today. And if you have any suggestions about the training topics, please let us know so that we can schedule the same, we can organize the same for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
you.
Good day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.